Hello my lovely friends, it's Marta. Welcome on my YouTube channel. This video is a very special video for those of you who are just starting. If you are absolute beginner, you never did any card, or you just starting your crafting adventure, you have limited supplies, then hop on to this video because you'll find lots of useful tips, and we're gonna be making card on a budget using absolutely basic supplies. If you've got the kids around, whether it's your own, your nieces, your grandkids, you may have pinch few paints or markers from them, as I did from my son. And I'm also having a scissors, ruler, a craft knife. That's the only one thing, more kind of a professional crafting tool, but these are anywhere between £3 to £5 from the craft store. This is also a great video for my more experienced crafting friends. Whenever you're on the go, whenever you're visiting your family, you spend the weekend with your grandkids in their house or something, you can jump on and use their supplies to create something together. But please be careful with the craft knife. That's the only one thing you have to be always used by the adult. Now I'm starting from taking a blank page of the white card. This is a 190 GSM card. The higher GSM on a card, the more thicker cardstock it is. You know, like the copy paper is very flimsy, but sturdy cardstock is the one with higher GSM. Here I was showing you briefly the scoring tool. This is the tool which help us to fold the paper without those like uneven creasing. So what you can do instead, fold a old pillowcase or a piece of the fabric and use your ruler. Place the ruler. I've marked the dots on 10 centimeter or 4 inches from one side, and then I am pressing with the ruler. As you can see here, do not put the pointy bit up too much, so you're not going to be tearing your paper. But with the smoothing glide beside the ruler, I've create myself my own creasing line, and this way the paper is look nice, professional. Now instead of using the trimmer or guillotine, which I normally do, here there's another trick you can use. You can use the ruler, glide it beside the edge of the fold card and press it firmly, and then use your craft knife to cut out the remaining bits. This way you're gonna be creating a nice card base, which is a DL size or slimline size. Make sure that you're not pressing your craft knife too much into the ruler, because it's a plastic ruler, so it will just, you know, it will start cutting through the ruler as well. Now here I have this remaining bit which was left over from creating the card base, and what I'm gonna do now, I will mark myself 2 dots. So I'm putting it on a card the way I would like to the thick of the frame to go around my mat and layer. This is what we call in card making, it's mats and layer. We put the front layer which is having this matting edge all around, and this is what I'm gonna do here. I have this front piece to go on the front of my card base, and I will have this white matting frame all around. And now I want to add a little drop of the color to my cardstock, because here I am using just the white card. Now this kids color paints, they always so bright colors, and I wanted to have something more soft, so I'm gonna be mixing the blue, this kind of a royal blue color tone with the white, and these are very, very inexpensive. You can get those paints in any supermarket, and that will give you a lot of possibilities to color your paper, rather than you have to break the bank and buy all the ink pads, color sprays and everything, because if you are at the beginning of the journey, it's very, very expensive. And I also put the list, I will maybe tag it over here, or maybe at the end of the video I will tag the video which I talk about which supplies I would choose for the beginner if I would be starting my card making adventure back again, and with the knowledge that would really save me a lot of money and unnecessary investment which I did. Now I've used a piece of the plastic bag, as you can see here, and I will be using it to color the card. I've add a drop of the blue and white ink, I've smeared them together, and now I am pressing to the paper. Once you press, just leave it there for a couple seconds. Don't take the foil back away, because you want this color to seep through your paper, so it will give it this nice tone. Then I am just gently tapping here and there on the bottom and on the top to create this nice kind of a flow of the color on the angle. It goes from the upper left corner towards the bottom right corner. And here I am adding a little extra bit of the paint, but this time of this blue color paint, but this time I am mixing it with the water. I am making sure it's more runny consistency, and now I am just creating couple of the splatters for my card. This will give it this nice effect, and I think those handmade color papers, they look way more kind of professionally than handmade, and you get this one-of-a-kind touch, because if you're gonna be creating the same background 2, 3, 4 times, each time you get slightly different result. So this is something which is really nice. Now, because we don't have any supplies, like we don't have dies, we don't have stamps, let's create some floral elements we will be able to put on a card. This card will be kind of a more on feminine vibe, so it will be more maybe suitable for the for your nan, for your mom, sister, you know, more girly, but you can twist the color, use more brown color tones as well, and that will be good for the gentleman as well. Or you can create it for an anniversary or something like that. That will be looking nice as well. Here I have this very cheap paints. These were actually included in one of the coloring book I've bought for my son, so he hasn't even played with it. You can buy the colorful paper pack, and this pack I'm just showing you here. This is the pack I got in Lidl's. I've bought it for my son, but it's very thin paper. It's almost like a copy paper, so this kind of a paper, it's not gonna be working for the card bases. But if you buy yourself a pack of the paper, I will give you the links down below to a couple of the stores when you can find this like cheap packs of the paper. Don't invest in the card bases, don't invest in anything else. Like just try and play, have a look if you even like it, if this is something for you, because too many times, and I think many crafters agree, we kind of get fixated. Like I had this this episode in my life when I thought like, oh, I'm gonna be making a jewelry, and I've bought so much stuff like wires, like beads, other pieces to make this handmade jewelry, and I hardly make it. I've made like a couple pieces, then I had 1 or 2 cardboards craft fairs, this cardboard sales, and that's it. And it's still lying in my drawers. I mean, I don't regret that, because obviously I've checked it, I had lots of fun. I've created a couple of the bracelets which I give to my mom, to my nana, or someone, and I'm still using the beads in my mixed media creation. But this is something like, you know, definitely you want to check before you're gonna go and you know, spend all your money on the supplies. Especially supplies are expensive, and sometimes it's worth to invest towards the tool rather than buy like tons of supplies from the beginning. Now here I've dabbed the kitchen towel on this piece of the cards which we were creating in the coloring with the blue color tone, and now I am distressing the edges. This is a very fun technique used by many crafters to create this nice interest to the paper. It also gives additional dimension, and distressing the edges help to layers pop out even more, especially when it's like white paper on white. Like some of the areas, two corners of this piece are white, so having this distress edge will help them to be more visible on the top of the card base. This paper, it's a little bit damp still. I should wait it a little bit longer for it to dry and then adhere it to my card base, but I was recording the video, so if you do it, if you color your paper, then leave it under the book or something for like half an hour or something. Get yourself a cup of coffee, tea, come back in a minute. I was just rushing because I was trying to create this card on one go while I was creating the video. Now I am using this cheap, inexpensive glue stick, which I add on the back side, and I am just adding it to the card base. And you can see here how this distress edges are helping the paper to stand out, and it's really looking nice and visible. And having the additional layer is just something which will make the card to look more special and more kind of a luxurious finish. Now it's time to create some flowers. So we had those circles which I've drawn using the Cernicus, but you can use the jar lid, cups, water glass, whatever round, and they don't even have to be round. You can sketch themselves with the pencil as well. It's just something I like to keep them kind of round. As you can see here, I'm not even super precise when I'm cutting them out. Is just about to have this kind of oval round shape. Now what I'm gonna do, I will kind of cut like a snail pattern. Like imagine yourself having the snail shell. It's just go around smaller until it will reach the center, and I'm leaving this like a kind of a small circle in the center, and then this is what I'm gonna do for all three of them. And you don't have to keep this super even pattern. I'm actually kind of trying to cut a little bit wonky. I am moving my paper slightly as I go, and this way I have this kind of a rough uneven shape. And the more uneven it is, the more handmade it looks like. So don't have to be, don't always try to be super accurate and precise with everything, because it's a handmade. The most important thing here is to have a good fun, to be creative, to let those creative energy flowing, and just to create something nice. Now I grab a marker. This is this pink color, inexpensive marker I've bought for my son, and then I am going over the edges. This is absolutely voluntary. You could skip this step. However, I do think that having these edges darken up, this is what I'm doing here. I'm going along the outside edge. This is what helps it to be more visible. You will see it once we put our flower together. You will see how this dark pink color line is just making the flower pop even more. So I'm going on the both sides, on the front side, and then a little bit on the back side. And on the back side, I'm not even careful to don't have any smudges or to be uneven, because it's not gonna be visible. All I'm really caring for is to have this white edge from the cutting, from the scissors I was cutting, so it's not gonna be appearing white anymore, and it's color with the darker color tone. You can do it in pink, in purples, whatever. If someone you creating the card for is like in a yellow color, you could create the yellow flowers. Everything is up to you and your imagination, or you can make a mixture as well. I just choose to have the same three color tone flowers, but you can do all of them in different color shades. Now I'm again reaching for a piece of the foil back again. I couldn't find the other piece I was using earlier, so I grab another piece, and then I am just using the kitchen sponge to dab a little bit extra color, because this paint, the one I was using earlier, it was a little bit too pale. It was this nice mint color, but it was very pale, so I've decided to give it a little extra bit, and I did it now so it will dry by the time I am rolling those flowers. I am using my paintbrush. just to start a little bit. We start from this end point and we just rolling towards the center. Make sure that you try to roll as tight as possible, and then once you release it, it will create this beautiful paper rose. And again, I'm reaching for another piece. I am using the paintbrush because it's easier to start when you have something like a skewer. You could use a bamboo skewer or something else, or even a pencil, but the smaller object like the pointed tip of the paintbrush is perfect because it's a very narrow bit. Or you can use the earbuds. If you have those cotton earbuds, there's this little like a wooden or plastic bit inside, and that will be great as well. And here you can see I am just doing it very quickly. This is like no brainer. You just roll. You don't have to be super precise. The project we're doing today, it's actually something for making this loose kind of a look. The flowers are a little bit like loose, same for the leaves, so this is something which is a very forgiving. Here I've noticed that this paper gets a little bit crinkled because it was still wet. I didn't wait for it to dry, so I placed the heavy book on top of it, so hopefully that will straighten it up. And if it happened to you as well, you can leave it over a night and then come back and start working on it next day. What I did, I just should wait till my front piece will dry before I adhere it to the card base. And to secure my roses, I am adding a little blob of the glue on that little dot which was in the center, and then I am just pressing, not too much. You don't want to be too firm, so you're going to be squishing your flower. You just want to press enough so this middle section of the rose will be all dipped in glue. And once you hold it for a few seconds, the glue will catch, and it will just make sure your flowers stay put together. And you can see here this little whimsical roses. They are very beautiful and very easy to do. You can even batch create them, keep them in a box, and whenever you're gonna be making a card, you can grab one or two, and you can cut the bunch of the circles, and then you can create them once you're watching a telly or something. So that's very relaxing too. Here I am cutting a couple of the leaves, and as you can see here, I am just kind of trying to give them this nice like a teardrop shape on the end, but it doesn't have to be super precise. Again, I'm just cutting them roughly, just trying to make sure that the size is matching my flowers, so they're not too large, not too small. And then I'm just roughly chopping them. I'm not even bothered by the bottom bits of those leaves, because these ones not gonna be visible, because we're gonna tackle them underneath our flowers. And again, I'm doing exactly the same thing which I did with the roses. Having this slightly darker marker around the edges is just helping to make them popping even more, give them nice dimension and finish. And it's just something which I really like. I think it's just looking great on all the elements. And again, if you have the access to colorful paper, you could do it. You can use the green color cardstock, or like a pattern paper. If you've got the pattern paper, which is like pinkish and green color tone, you can do the same, or other colors as well. It's obviously up to yourself, whatever colors you want to use. Now, once I've colored my edges, I am just folding the leaf half, creating this crease line in the center, and then each of the sides I am gently squishing bit by bit in my fingers, so it gives me this nice crinkle effect. And here you can see it's very easy as well. It doesn't take a lot of your time, but thanks to it, the leaves are no longer flat. They've become much more dimensional, and they look way more realistic. They would be probably even more realistic if I add a little bit more color to them, but I like them to keep this nice pastel color tone. All the card is in the pastel vibe. This is one of my favorite colors. I just love pastels, and whenever I can, I'm just creating some nice lightweight color elements for my cards. Here you can see the card has dried a little bit, and I have this nice pop-up of the blue color tone, and it's time to arrange the composition. What I'm doing, I'm adding a little bit of the glue to my flowers. Then I'm starting from the flowers, so I have them in the position where I exactly want them to be, and then I am adding the leaves. If any of the leaves is too large, you can trim them. On the bottom they will become a little bit shorter, and it's all about your imagination, or how would you like your flower arrangement to be. I like them in the uneven number, like 3 flowers or something, and then add a couple of the leaves around. But it's up to you, whatever you'd like, and try to experiment. Use 2 flower, 3 flower, same color flowers. You can create a batch of the cards. For example, Easter is coming, or some if you've got the family members who will have the springtime birthday, or any other time of the year, they'll be great. This is gonna be a great thing to give them something you handmade. Now I'm gonna use the happy birthday sentiments. These are the sentiments I've designed myself. They are available on my little shop. I'll give you the link down below if you would like to check them out. But use what you have. You can write it down yourself. You can cut 2 strips of the paper and write happy birthday, or even cut the happy birthday pieces from the magazine or a book or something, if you've got, or use the old cards. The first thing I was doing when I was starting my adventure with card making, I was holding the cards which I was receiving from my family and friends, and then I was repurposing them, reusing them, cutting out the sentiments. But if you would like to have this printable sentiments, these are the digital designs, so you can print them, cut them with the scissors or trimmer if you have, and you'll have 200 sentiments, so that will last you for a very long time. And these are in the pastel and black and white. Now I'm adding a drop of the glue to both ends. I'm not adding the glue in the center because I want to give them a little arch, just so the sentiment will be a little bit dimensional as well. And I am just pressing until the glue will catch, and that's basically makes my card. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope that gives you a little spark of joy, and encourage you to try to create something for yourself, even if you don't have the access to professional tool. Here is the close-up photo of the card. I will be having a live classes on this Saturday, so join me, hop on, learn something new, and ask the question, because we're gonna be chat. And here is the link to the video as well, which you can check what I would pick if I would be a beginner, if I would buy crafty supply. Stay blessed, my friends, and bye bye.